All right, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Cincinnati Herald's Influencers, a weekly talk show to share young voices. My name is Nailah Edwards, and I am one of the 7 influencers, and I will be your morning host today. Usually you see me in the evening, but I'm in the morning now. So if you have been keeping up with the shows, you've probably heard my voice before on the radio, or you've probably watched some of my old reruns. Of course, we're still not back in the radio station due to the pandemic, but hopefully we'll be back soon. But right now we're doing Facebook Live on Zoom, so and it's working out for now. But if you did not catch my show the last time, my show consists of introducing you to the amazing, talented, and hardworking youth of Cincinnati, as well as speaking on influential topics that are important for our younger generation. So today I will be introducing you to my good friend, a very good friend, Kenny Glenn. Kenny is a young trailblazer here in Cincinnati, and we're going to talk all about his journey and some of his life events that has guided him to, overcome some of his obstacles and reach for success. So Kenny is 23 and he just turned 23, and he is Mount Healthy school board member. He graduated with his bachelor's and his master's degree at the same time. Where they do that at? But that's amazing. And then he's gonna participate in the Olympics next year, which is great as well. And he's a business hospital practitioner, and he is also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, right? Yes, there we go. Okay. And he's doing so many amazing things, which is awesome. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit, but first we're gonna I would like to remind you to check out the Cincinnati Herald this week. You can pick up a copy of the newspaper at your local Kroger's, Walgreens, UDF, Joseph Beth, or any other newspaper stand around the city. And you can also visit us at thecincinnatiherald.com and subscribe there to get mail delivery. And also I like to just make this plug. So the Cincinnati Herald recently just partnered with WCPO Channel 9 News on a story collaboration that I had the opportunity to cover along with Courtney Francisco, a journalist and reporter from WCPO. So if you did not catch the story that we did together, you can find the story out on our website, on our Facebook page, and then you can also visit WCPO.com where they have the story there as well. So yeah, and then I also had a request for a birthday shout out. So for all of you who know Mr. Robert L. Humphreys, please wish him a happy birthday today by calling him or, texting him just to wish him a very special day. He's partnered with the Cincinnati Herald on several things, including the Miss Black Cincinnati and the Miss Black Teen Cincinnati pageant. So he's a huge trailblazer here in Cincinnati as well. So please be sure to send him a birthday shout out. But like I said, we are on Zoom and Facebook Live on the Cincinnati Herald's page. So if you have any questions or comments throughout the show, please feel free to drop them, and I will be looking at the Facebook comments. So if you have any questions for Kenny, let us know.
Yep.
But without further ado, I would like to welcome Kenny Glenn. It's an honor to have you on my show today, Kenny. And it's a privilege to know you. I've known you for so long, and I'm very excited to chat all about your journey today. So welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation.
No problem. So throughout this show, I want to touch on a little bit of everything that you're doing because you're doing so many different things. But I want to swing it back to young Kenny, because you started off at Mount Healthy High School and you were very involved there. You played sports and everything, and now you're in the Hall of Fame at Mount Healthy, and you're also a Mount Healthy school board member. So was that always in the plans for you to become a member of the school board at Mount Healthy, or was that just something that fell into your lap?
That's something that super fell into my lap.
Yeah.
So right before graduating, and then once I did graduate, I came back home to Mount Healthy because I knew I wanted to pour into the community, just didn't know how I wanted to go about it. An example, there were some spring breaks during college at Miami where I would come back and speak to the kids, whether that be for a day or throughout the week, just giving them different advice on whether it was athletics, academics, life after high school, letting them know how real it's going to be. But then I was with the current mayor, Mr. Wolf, who was my actually history and psychology teacher at Mount Healthy. And he told me, hey, there's a position opening up on the school board. I think you should run for it. And I was like, okay, I'll put my name in the hat. I had no idea there was an election process. You had to go speak to a whole bunch of places, meet the community, and really, be a full-blown election as you were running for president. So it was an interesting journey. Met a lot of people, learned more about the community's needs and also the pain points that our school district was having as a whole. So not just at the high school level, but also K-6, and then just overall other stakeholders. So whether that's businesses or just other stakeholders that are close to Mount Healthy. So not just the businesses in Mount Healthy, but it's Cincinnati as a whole, and then also the college, high school aspect, and then also trade school.
Mm-hmm.
So had all those opportunities within it, and then wanted to pour into the kids. So I said, why not run for it? And then when I initially ran, I didn't get it, just missed it, me being the newest, youngest face by about 30 years. But yeah, God had other plans. So then about a month later, one of the board members actually resigned, and then so I was appointed.
Yeah, because I remember when you were running, I was like, oh, my good friend run. I want to put in my vote. But, I live in North College Hill, so, I couldn't vote in that area. So I was just like, dang. So, I was there in support for you. But I saw that you said you didn't get it. And I was like, oh, man. And then I came back like months later, and you had your pen, your little pad, and your little, I was like, oh, he's on the school board now. What happened? So like I read your story and I was like, dang, God had different plans for him, which I was like, yes, he deserved that. So did you have like a platform? Because I know you're very centered around like the kids. So did you have like a platform that you were spearheading that around?
I would say my biggest platform was being able to see both perspectives. So I do a lot of work and a lot of meetings, a lot of relationships with the adults and higher up stakeholders, whether that's superintendent, staff, administrators, but then also the other side of it was that the students, why we serve and why we the teachers and staff go to work every day is to serve the students in the community they're in. So me being fresh out of college and not too far removed from high school, I'm still able to go into the school and sometimes be mistaken as a student, whether what it depends on what I'm wearing, or be mistaken as a teacher or an administrator. So with that, I'm able to see both sides of the coin. So I talk to the students and get their perspective on certain things. Even when I talk to them, they'll tell me things that they see, and I'll give the teacher perspective. If I'm talking to the teacher, I'll give the student perspective. So just being able to see both sides of the coin and speak on both behalves gave me a huge benefit and a plug into why I should be on the school board.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful. So you did some sports at Mount Healthy. So what were those sports that you did there?
Yep, the first sport was actually, this is back when I was short, it was cross country. Yep, and then my biggest passion and love, which it still is to this day, is basketball. So became a star in that. A lot of dunks, a lot of threes. But then all that training transitioned into track and field, which I did my senior year, thanks to my mother. So a huge advice to anyone that's watching is listen to your mom, because I actually almost did not do track and field, but then she said, go for it. It's your last year and last semester in high school, go ahead and run track. So went and did high jump, long jump, ended up making it to state, place there, got 2 medals. And then after that, I said, actually, I could really go to college for this and get it paid for. So I started calling college coaches, and I did these things, got these accolades, a great academic student as well. It would be great for me to be at your campus. So a lot of coaches received that feedback and said, yep, we got a spot for you. And then the greatest I wanted to go initially was actually Miami University. So that all worked out perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're in the Hall of Fame at Mount Healthy, so that must feel really great.
Funny that 3 years prior, I was speaking at my sister. So my sister went to Mount Healthy as well, and I was speaking to her class about athletics and just becoming a Division I student athlete. And I took a picture of the Hall of Fame and said, I'm on my way, because I was literally on my way. So at Miami, I participated in long jump for the 100-meter dash, my apologies, and broke the records in long jump, indoor and outdoor. And then I was ranked 22nd in the country last year. And then what else did I? 3 times national championship qualifier. And then I'll be competing for Honduras. So all of that come together, and also my high school accolades attributed to that as well. But they put my name in the hat. My former cross country and track coach said, hey, I think Kenny Glenn would be really good in the Hall of Fame. And everybody said, yep. And I was not, along with my coach who also got in there. His name is Kenneth as well, so it's a great name to have. But then also our athletic director, and then another member from Indiana University that did pole vault. But me being in there, huge accomplishment, not just for me, but also my family and the community as a whole. Because a lot of my peers, had the opportunity to be in there as well. There's some mistakes, whether it was their fault or not, paths that they chose. But I'm glad that to represent my class and the time frame of my health that I was in and involved with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you went to Miami University. So to switch gears a little bit, your major was accounting. You was into that math stuff.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I love math, but it's funny when people think accounting, all they think is numbers, but much more strategy, laws, debits, credit, equations, but not so much as mathematics. So I would say mathematics caters more towards finance, which I almost majored in. But when you go accounting, it's like double dipping. And then the funny thing about me majoring and getting my bachelor's and master's in accounting is that I started off in mechanical engineering. But I was in physics for 3 weeks, and that did not work out. Failed my first exam and said, I don't really think engineering's for me. So then looked around and I said, I had a big brother and mentor on the track team who was in the business school at Miami. And he said, why don't you think about majoring something in business? So I said, all right, I'll do finance just like you. But then I learned more about accounting, went to a career fair. They told me the benefits of it. And I said, yep, I'll go the accounting route. And it opened up a lot of opportunities, whether that was on a global scale, but also national as well.
Got you. So you also did so actually, let me back up. So what made you go to Miami University out of all colleges?
Yeah. Originally, I really wanted to go to the University of Miami down in Florida. So me and my mom went to an info session, if you will. Yeah, they said average ACT score is 32, and you're going to pay about $30,000 a year. Both of those things did not have it. I got a 22 on my ACT. That was my highest score. And then the $32,000 a year, that was not going to happen. My parents literally sat me down and said, you're going to have to pick a college here in Ohio. Ohio State was a great college as well, but I felt it was just way too big for me. And then UC would have been a great choice as well, but I've been there literally 6 summers in a row growing up. So I was there here for whether it was E3 or a different program with Miss Nasheed, math teacher at Walnut Hills. I got tired of it. So I said, I need to get out of Cincinnati, but not too far. So I was like, Miami, this is the perfect place. And when I went up there for a Bridges program, it was a lot of Black kids. So I said, man, this is what college is going to be like. And everybody was super friendly. So I said, yep, Miami, it is for me.
Yeah. Excuse me. So you did sports there, which was long jump. Is that what, how do they say
yeah,
that? Long jump? Okay. So you did long jump there, and then you were a Kappa. So Mr. Walter White, I don't know if you know him. He works for the Cincinnati Herald. I'm actually going to admit him into this Zoom meeting because he's a Kappa as well. So that's your threat. Hey, Mr. Walt, wherever he is. I don't know. He's not there, so maybe he's just gonna listen. But he'll come back. So whenever he comes back, you can talk to Miss Walter. But yeah. So what else? So you did that there. So where did the Olympics come in at? So I know you're gonna compete next year, because I guess you were supposed to compete this year, but
in Tokyo, and as we speak. Yep. Yeah. Before COVID, I was at Bald Fade 1, Nailah Afro. And I was in Atlanta training with Dwight Phillips, Marquise Goodwin, with the Winter Circle, preparing for the Olympics, strengthening my mind, body, spirit, getting better at the event of long jump. But then COVID hit, and I said, I think it's time to, rest. There was a lot of times we're getting kids off tracks just because they wanted to keep everything safe and everybody indoors. But I think I'll just go back home, rest a little bit, but then prepare myself to go back down there next year to continue training. But the country I'll be competing for is Honduras. So younger Kenny, that you brought up earlier, wanted to compete for United States. Like, man, they're number one in literally everything, especially when it comes to sports. But the jump is so much harder, and the goal is really to get to the Olympics, to call myself an Olympian. So I said, I have this opportunity to compete for Honduras. That's when my mother was born. Whole family's there, on a lot of property. And I'll be able to get dual citizenship because she was born there. So I said, I think I'm gonna take that route, compete for Honduras, and then with my current mark, I'm already #1 in their country, so it just makes sense for me to take that route.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting. So was that always in the plans for you?
It was not. If we would so even younger Kenny, I wouldn't say, freshman year high school. I'm a mechanical engineering major. I'm gonna get my doctorate in that maybe, and playing the NBA. But all those things did not. I had other plans. My parents had other plans. My body had other plans. Injuries, probably. But everything works out for the best. So I'm glad to be where I am today, given what I was given, and take what I have to take.
I'm excited. Hopefully you go all the way. I'm like,
I
know that guy, my friend. But that's amazing. So you're also a business hospital practitioner. So you work with JC Baker and Associates. So can you touch on that a little bit and what you do there?
Yep. Yeah, I do a lot of great work almost daily with Dr. Baker. I was actually with him yesterday on a couple meetings. But with that, being a practitioner with the business hospital, we're the only business hospital of record in the world. And with that, we exist to make sure companies are healthy. So whether helping with commercialization, financial strategy, their operations, human capital, or maybe they need help with sales. A lot of companies, when you ask them, what are some things that could benefit you? Where your pain points lie? They'll say, we need more marketing, or we need fundraising. But maybe it's you need to get rid of this person on your team, or maybe you need to learn how to sell better or adjust your target market. There's just a host of factors that we look at to make sure that a company is healthy. Just like as human beings, we should go to our primary care physician, whether we stub our toe really bad or just there for a general wellness check every year, like a physical, or we have stage 4 cancer. You want to make sure that you go to a hospital or your primary care physician to get the assistance that you need.
So you all have like financial workshops, and I know you used to send me some of the flyers.
Yeah.
And so is there like any coming up where people can go to those to get help in that area?
Yep. Yeah. When we're allowed to have safe and cautious in-person events again, because we've had a couple last year called Financial Freedom Fridays, and then the most recent one we actually packed out First Financial Bank downtown on Vine Street. So looking forward to doing that again and even continuing to grow it. We want to make sure it's in person so people really get the gist of what we're doing, look into their eyes, get feedback, call on different individuals. But yeah, having it in person, I know a lot of virtual events have gone virtual, but that one is just so paramount to growing our financial acumen as a community and as a people that we want to have it in person.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So I know you touched on some of like your obstacles earlier in the conversation.
Some of
them. But can you touch on like again some of your obstacles that you faced along your journeys and like what you learned from them to get where you are now?
Yeah, I would say the biggest lesson out of all of them is to never give up and use your resources accordingly. So a lot of times you may have to finesse your way in, like literally finesse your way in. So a great example being my first interview for accounting. So I was interviewing with Ernst & Young, and I wanted to go to San Diego, California. Reason I chose San Diego was actually because they have an Olympic training center in San Diego. So I said, if I could work for a Big Four accounting firm and train for the Olympics at the same time, man, that would be amazing. So they said, all right, Kenny, we see your resume. We're going to fly you out. And I'm out there. I tell everybody in the world I'm going to San Diego to interview for this job. Yeah, I don't think you should have did that, but whatever. So I'm out there and completely, bombed the interview. Like, I thought I did a good job, but that was my first interview. And I get feedback. They say, yeah, we're going to deny you. And I was like, all right, why? So you're not really affiliated with accounting. You didn't ask enough questions, and you just don't really fit our culture where you stand right now. So that was a hard blow that I had to take. But once I took it, I said, all right, they told me the problems that I need to improve upon. So now I need to go improve upon them. So I immediately joined NABA, which is National Association of Black Accountants. So that expanded my network and showed that I actually care about accounting and everything within it. Improved my GPA, started talking to teachers and different other businesses about what I could get my hands into. And then that led me to KPMG, where I flourished. And literally during the interview process, I spoke with one of the recruiters before career fair, so everyone is going to get to her. I get to her before everyone else, and even greater preparation. So that'll be another point of advice. We were going to meet at Starbucks on Tuesday morning, and I don't drink coffee. Never have been to Starbucks. So Monday night, I went to Starbucks and said, I don't really drink coffee. What should I get? That just showed the preparation because I know they're going to ask, hey, Kenny, what do you want? I said, I want an iced chai tea latte because I was here last night. But I tell them that. I went there prepared with about questions, wrote down in my portfolio, thinking I was going to have to reference them, but I ended up memorizing them because I was super prepared for the interview. And it probably would have lasted about 10 minutes had I not had those questions. So 10 minutes turned into an hour and a half based upon me being inquisitive and showing them that I actually have done my research and care about what they have to offer me. So just never giving up. And then I eventually got the KPMG internship and actually did it in Atlanta by saying that I want to go to Atlanta because I have family down there. So that's a way of finessing your way in.
Yeah, I remember when you did that internship, and didn't you do it like twice?
Yep. Yeah. So I did my first one in Atlanta, which was a great experience. But then I knew I wanted to reach back into my community of Mount Healthy and Cincinnati as a whole. Come back to the Cincinnati office, which didn't have many Black people in the office. So another way to finesse. A lot of times there's not many Black people in this room. All right, put yourself in that room. And then that'll graft the way for others to come into the room as well. That's what I did my second internship here in Cincinnati, and it was okay, but I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do as I originally had thought. So my first internship was external audit, and then the second one was internal audit. But I knew I wanted to go more advisory and consulting, which is similar to what I do now as a practitioner with the business hospital. And then so that summer, I was able to meet Dr. Baker, and he spoke with so much power, leadership, authority, and then just told me about the host of things he's doing, whether it was technology, sports, entertainment. So I immediately gravitated towards that. But had I just settled into what I was doing in Atlanta with KPMG, I would have never had this opportunity that I have today.
Right. So do you eventually plan on, I know you touched this in our conversation a little while or a couple of days ago, but do you plan on relocating to Atlanta for all your opportunities there?
I do a lot of training down there for the Olympics, so we'll see, where that leads. But Atlanta's a great city, but so is Cincinnati. Cincinnati is continuing to thrive, no matter what anybody tells you. A lot of Fortune 500 companies do work here. Technology is continuing to grow, especially with companies such as Centrifuge. And then we have a really good opportunity to be a major city in the country. So just like you have Chicago's, Atlanta's, Los Angeles, we could be a Dallas-Fort Worth, so like a Cincinnati, Dayton. So just seeing the opportunity that the region has, especially combined with Northern Kentucky as well, Cincinnati is a really good place to live and settle down potentially.
For sure. So with you right now, with COVID and everything going on, how are you coping through this situation? And would you have any advice to give anyone else that's struggling right now, losing hope, especially younger people?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I would say, I know a lot of people were saying they were working hard or working smart before COVID, but now it's time to rest a little bit, but go even harder. So what contacting individuals, more reading, more planning, you're not the only person going through COVID. Literally everyone on the planet is going through this. So they're probably available to talk. If you just call them, email, find a way. So a lot of advice that I give and have given in the past is no matter what obstacles in your way, you either got to go around it, go under it, go over it, or you go through it. So figure it out. And from a hope standpoint, just knowing that eventually, this will pass. And even if it doesn't, you just have to adapt and adjust. So it's not the hardest that survives. It's not the strongest. It's the person that's most willing and able to adapt.
And I know the big topic right now is with school coming back and kids, with everyone trying to figure out if kids are going to go back to school and what the game plan is going to be. What are your thoughts on that, considering that you're the school board member, and how everything's going to work out on that end?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So a lot of parents have elected for their children to do 100% remote, but then other parents on the opposite spectrum want their kids to go back Monday through Friday just as normal. So because of that split, Mount Healthy was actually able to 40% of students will be in class and in the buildings Monday through Friday as normal, but then the other 60% will do 100% remote learning. But it just depends on the resources that the school district and what you're able to access. So my Healthy, for example, each student gets a Chromebook, so they have that, but then a lot of them don't have access to internet. So with the CARES Act money, we were able to purchase Kajits, which are mobile hotspots. Students can still get online and do their work using their Chromebook. But others don't have those luxuries. So some students have to get packets. Some students may have to go to the library. Students are only in school, Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So it goes back to the adaptability, but then also using your resources. So ask your teachers for help more than ever. So email them, call them. Don't just blow it off and say, "Oh, they don't really care about me." No, they care about you. You just have to put the effort forward.
Well, hello, Mr. Walter. How you doing?
How you doing?
This is Kenny. Kenny, this is Mr. Walter. He's also a Kappa.
Are you a Beta Eta man?
Kappa Delta.
Kappa Delta. Okay. Good for you. I was trying to tell Nailah, all young men that's going somewhere are Kappas, but she has to learn all of that stuff.
Right. Hopefully she'll get on game soon.
That's a whole nother story and situation. But yeah, so back to that topic, Kenny. So I read some numbers about like the COVID numbers out here, and like Mount Healthy, North College Hill, the numbers are high out here when it comes to like COVID. So, and I don't think there's any like locations out here where people can get tested. So I don't know if you're connected with the mayor of Mount Healthy, but do you feel like, well, obviously, but do you think there should be some testing sites out here, or how we can go about doing that so people don't have to travel outside of their community to do that?
I definitely agree with that aspect. I feel like schools could definitely play a part in that. The schools already have nurses, but they can also work on their partnership aspect. So, partnering with the local hospital and having them set up a site at the school because it's so close and large within the district, so someone could easily access it and travel there. But I know there were some on the borderlines of Forest Park / Mount Healthy / Seven Hills. There's so many fragments within Cincinnati, but it's really just about figuring out what's best for the people that you serve. So I do feel like there should be some resources closer to Mount Healthy and North College Hill that people can access.
For sure. Because we definitely need that out here, especially with like the kids going back to school. If they can maybe do something in schools, or
these next 30 days will be very interesting, because I know for Mount Healthy, school starts August 20th.
Yeah, and I know like CPS is trying to figure out what they're gonna do. It's crazy. So hopefully they figure something out. But if it was me as a parent, I'd be like, no, I'm keeping my kid at home. It's not happening. I'm not about to risk my child's life to go get an education. They're gonna like possibly risk their life. So none of that. Someone said Seven Hills is the closest testing center, which it is. So I think
not mistaken.
Definitely having some more out here, because with our numbers so high out here, that's definitely something that's needed.
And then a lot of it, sits on one. It's funny that Hamilton County is having the craziest amount of cases and spread. And Hamilton Avenue spans so far, there should be way more testing, just Seven Hills, especially just in the Mount Healthy, North College Hill aspect of Cincinnati.
Yeah. So Kenny, like with any young people that are watching, and for older generations as well, do you have any advice about like how to keep your mind in the right mindset and to be successful? Like any advice just to encourage people?
Man, it's
like what's your motto,
man, it's just my biggest motto would probably be figure it out. So no matter what it is, I'm going to figure it out. And I'm like not coping out or coping out with excuses. So even when I went to go speak to Mount Healthy, a lot of students would say, how do I get in touch with a college coach? Or how do I get to this college? Or how do I do that? And I'm like, wait a minute. You guys are on Facebook, Twitter, on Facebook right now. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. But you have all these questions. Why not just use your phone? literally Google has answers to a lot of things. And if Google doesn't have it, you probably know someone close to you that does know the answer. So whether that's a teacher, a principal, or your parent, a big brother, or even opening a book at the library, going to there for free and looking up on their computer, you can find the answer. You just have to actually care and have the desire to do so.
Correct. Thank you for sharing that insight.
Absolutely.
Mr. Walter, down here, you have any? Well, yeah, I think you got to unmute yourself, but if he knows how to do that.
Keep in my lane.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Did you have any questions for Kenny that you would like to ask him as a young person or as a captain?
Kenny, let me ask you this. Where do you think, let's just say the county, Hamilton County, is headed in reference to the topic today? Are we stable? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Where do you think we're at? Because I know there's so many different views, and it gets kind of scary because most people aren't really tapping into, or as we used to say back in the day, drilling down, trying to get a specific answer that makes sense and that's real.
Right. Yeah, it's really topsy-turvy right now. So you don't know if it's getting better or worse. If you look at the news, you would say it's getting worse. You look at events open up, you would say it's getting better. And then we continue to push the mask mandate. You know, some people oblige, some people don't. But then we continue to open testing centers. And the testing part is really interesting to me because maybe you had COVID and then on the last day you have it, you go get tested and they say, "Are you have it?" Now you got to stay in the house for 2 weeks. So it's really ambiguous and you don't know, what to make of the current virus. So you just really have to keep your immune system as high as possible, making sure washing your hands, doing what you can do to stay safe and healthy as possible, but not just yourself, but also others around you. So being cautious of that as well.
How do you think, being realistic, how do you think older adults versus younger adults are dealing with it? Because see, there's this perception that younger adults aren't really abiding by or following the rules.
Right.
I go into different places. I see a lot of older adults just totally arrogant with their attitude about it, almost if the same old trap that I remember older adults in my youth got caught up. Well, I know better because I'm older.
Right.
So I think the message the younger adults are getting, well, if I see older adults doing it, why should I be worried?
Right.
And I think it's just this huge friction of what do we do? I mean, I'm at the point now, and I only can speak for me, that when I go out and I forget my mask, I freak out, I turn around, go back to my car, and I must have 10 masks in my car. So I always have but I don't know about why do I see all these people who won't wear masks, Kroger mandated, Walmart mandated, and you still see people when they handle the mask, take the mask off when they walk in the store.
Right.
So it's really interesting. How do younger people perceive that as a message coming from older adults?
Yeah, the message is always fragmented because you have some people that say, "Well, they ain't my daddy. I ain't gonna listen to nobody." And some people will say, "I think we should really listen to him and put on the mask because I have someone that older that I live and it actually affects me." Then you have the opposite as well. So it's really just it's like kind of person by person. You can't even say group by group because it's so individualistic. So I can't really call it or put a pinpoint on it. But if we want this thing to go away or shrink it at all, we're gonna have to follow some type of direction.
Now I'm interested in the school phenomena because I don't have to make those choices. My children my youngest is older than you. Okay. So, but my grandson actually just graduated. But I listen to Nailah. We've had a conversation about that topic. And quite frankly, I just had a conversation with a Mount Healthy grad. He's his name is Mr. Vincent Brown. He used to own Global League, and he's graduated from the old Mount Healthy High over there on Ferguson.
Yeah. Talk to him.
I got you. He a noob. And so just so Nailah don't know what we're talking about, but you know, he a noob. And so how would y'all deal with that? Because we said the same thing. We wouldn't know what to do.
Right.
Say 20 years ago, our kids were in school. We wouldn't know what to do. So how is these young folks in your age group and a little older, how are they dealing with it? Because this is a lot happening to you guys in the beginning of your lives.
Right. Yeah, I'll speak from K through 12 and then college. So K through 12, my healthy decided K through 3, they'll be in, so K through 6 will be in class, but K through 3, they'll be in class as well, but they'll be able to have plexiglass around their desk so that they won't have to wear a mask unless they go to the bathroom. And then 4 through 6, wear a mask throughout the day. 6 through 12, or 6 through 8, you're still in school, but then you're also wearing masks. And then once you get to the high school level, you're able to choose if you want to be 100%, not you, but your parent can choose if you want to be 100% remote, or if you're in school, you're abiding by the rules. So you have to come in with a mask. If you have certain symptoms, they ask that you stay home. You know, there's a lot of temperature checks. So even though we're preparing to go back to school, a lot of sports start in the summer. So whether that's football, volleyball, soccer, basketball, even when you go to those, you have to take attendance, take their temperature, make sure everyone's spread out. So this even to the point where basketball, you have to have your own ball. So they're being really strict about the guidelines to make sure that things don't spread out as bad. And then also creating, what if plans. So what if a student gets COVID and it spreads throughout their whole classroom? What now? So it's just a matter of planning as much as you can, but then also being reactive to whatever happens come August.
So I'm gonna go with the real, because Nailah and I have a joint question. She's thinking it because we've started together a couple of times. So what really gonna happen? what are the kids really gonna do?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even call it.
Yeah.
And I'm on the school board, and it's just like, we don't know. When the kids go back, we will see what happens.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because UC's doing the same thing. We're doing blended learning. We have the option to come on campus, and there's hybrid learning. So it's just like, it's crazy. I don't know how. I mean, I have 2 classes online and 1 on campus. So I'm like, yo, listen, I ain't going to campus for 1 class and risk my how crazy.
Well, not just going to school, but what the school provides. So whether that's you eat
like
in the
wearing your mask and all that, yeah. So
you eat in the cafeteria, do you eat in your classroom? What happens if a fight breaks out? Do you want to break it up? Because I might get COVID.
And then like with them opening up the dorm halls and like the dining hall, it's just it's a risk. So yeah.
Like, throws a party. Are they allowed to throw a party? Yeah, when we start talking about college, it's a whole nother beast.
So back to the real. You know they're gonna throw parties.
Yeah. I already know.
That's
a fact. So it's gonna be interesting. But we'll see what happens.
So what's the next step?
You said what?
I was gonna ask him, what's his next step beyond the school board? Are you gonna be a superintendent? Are you gonna be state of Ohio? I mean, because you ask your aspirations, because you're a Kappa and you're an achiever. So, we got that. That's another thing, Nailah, you have to pick up on later. But, you're very young, which impressed me. I'm so happy. Your generation has made my heart so much more at peace about the future with the last 4 months, What's your next step? Because I know you obviously have a long-term plan as far as his education, where you see yourself in it, as far as, like whether being a principal, a vice principal, or principal, superintendent, Ohio State, the state of Ohio school system, college. Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, really, it's funny that you asked. The first thing you said was superintendent. So my role on school board is to hire superintendents. So literally, that was my first task on the school board, finding a new superintendent who we just hired, Dr. Valerie Hawkins, who came from Princeton. Really glad about what she's looking to do. But as far as me and my long-term plan, being connected on the school board and seeing different things and aspects now, it would be to be more so in the trenches, but from where I stand and sit. So because of that, it'd be setting up different systems that actually help the kids. So not just the traditional school, but seeing what they really need to succeed and letting them know what's really going on. So like you said, like we want to know the real. So when I went to go speak to the kids and still do, I tell them what's really about to happen after high school. It isn't this glamorous lifestyle. College is going to just give you money. Someone's going to just give you a job. You know, life is going to get real. Bills are real. You know, death is real on the decisions that you make with your life. So just setting up those systems and increasing parent and community engagement. You know, a lot of Black and brown communities, you know, fail in that aspect. So kids could be, you know, an example, really good at a sport, but their parents never show up to the game. So they don't have any guidance. They're just out here doing whatever. And then whoever has their ear, whether that's the streets, whether that's someone that's going to lead them down the wrong path, if that's the only person they look up to, they're going to listen to whatever they say and be guided by that. And that's going to end up with some consequences. Yeah, but there's the opposite that's real, but more so often than not is someone that has good guidance and a good head on their shoulders and someone that they can actually lean on for positive advice. Yeah, so just tying into that and creating systems as well as, you know, resources in those aspects. That would be my long-term vision for sure.
Great.
Any more questions, Mr. Watson?
No, I'm letting the hostess with the mostest take over now. I just want to listen to this young man make me feel good about the future, just like you make me feel good about the future, because it's important. It's important that you all achieve and continue.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. So Kenny, for like anyone that's watching, do you have some social media so that they can connect to you?
Yep. Yeah. I used to be on it a lot more, but I'll still check time to time. So Facebook page that I super rarely use is Kenny Glenn, but for to message me on there, I would reply. Instagram _KG Smooth. So SM. So K _KG SM 2 O's VE. Yeah. And then that's pretty much about it. Don't use Twitter rarely. And then, but if someone can reach me, you know, they'll find a way. You know, email.
Are you on LinkedIn at all?
Yo, for sure. Yep. Kenneth Glenn on LinkedIn. I super check LinkedIn. That's the professional Facebook for me.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, everyone connect with Kenny because he's awesome. He's a great young trailblazer here in Cincinnati. If you need some connections, he can get you with those people. So at least try. But yep. He's a great person. So definitely connect with Kenny. So we're just gonna wrap up this show now. We kind of went over time, but it's okay because we had a great.
It's all good.
But yeah, so I really enjoyed the opportunity of being able to, you know, speak to you today, Kenny, this morning. So thank you again for being here with me, and I really hope that everyone, you know, listening enjoyed the interview and learned a lot about you, in your journey and simply just, you know, reaching for success and never looking back. So, unless it's on a positive aspect, but you know, never look back.
Or you can learn.
Yeah. Or learn from your past, but just keep it forward. So yeah, and thank you, Mr. Walter. You know, gotta give you some thanks to, you know, for chiming in.
Yep.
Some questions.
I need your name, number. Well, I got your name. I need your number, email, all of it.
I'm gonna put it in the chat room.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. So everyone, please be sure to connect and support Kenny on his social media. Like I said, he's a great person to connect with, so be sure to do that. And lastly, don't forget to tune in again this evening for the 6 p.m. show. John Reese will be speaking with actress-singer Samantha Williams. So be sure to tune back in to support them this evening. And then also be sure to check out the influencers on the Cincinnati Herald's YouTube channel, The Herald TV. Like the Cincinnati Herald on Facebook if you already haven't, and follow us at Cincy Herald on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, you can go to thecincinnatiherald.com because we just remodeled it and it looks wonderful. So please feel free to go on there and check out our website. And as always, like I said before, in the intro to the show, we just partnered with WCPO on a story collaboration. So please be sure to go check out the story that I collaborated with Courtney Francisco on, a reporter and journalist from WCPO. It's a wonderful story about UC. So go check that out. So thank you to everyone that tuned in today to the Influencers at Home, my edition at home, all of our editions at home. Thank you again to Kenny and Mr. Walter for chiming in today. And then stay healthy, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thanks, you all.
See ya.
All right.
Yeah. Did you get that information, Kenny, before I stop this?
Yep. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks,
just hit
everybody.
me up. Text me. I text.
You don't answer the phone, Kenny. Just
I'm like you all. I learned that from the young folks.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.